Evening, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. Apologies for being a bit late. But yeah, we are back again. Episode 5 of the new season. Of course, we're going to be going over the two new signings. Of course, one permanent, one on another loan. Going over the disaster class that was Cambridge. Of course, hopefully that's just a one-off. But we're going to be going over that in detail. And then, of course, we're joined by a Wycombe fan, George from the Wycombe Way. To discuss, of course, the Wycombe game, second home game of the season, back at the Mem. Hopefully we can continue the good performance that was Barnsley at home, and hopefully this time we can get 3 points after the disappointment on Saturday. Of course, smash the like button. If you're watching live, as always, get your questions. Smash the subscribe button as well if you haven't already. Close to 6,500 subscribers, so keep up the amazing support. And also, if you are watching back on the replay, then don't forget to leave your score predictions in the comments and smash a like as always. If we can get 50 likes again, that would be class. As always, we're joined by Neil. Evening, Neil. How you doing?
All right, mate. You? Yeah, all good.
Yeah, not too bad. Obviously, apart from the result, not been too bad to be honest. But yeah, quickly before we get into the Cambridge game, obviously we talked a little bit about Jack Hunt obviously signing on a 2-year deal on a free, but the other signing as well, Bogarde. A lot of people didn't think we'd be getting him back. What do you make of that signing this time on a season long loan?
Yeah, again, really positive, really good to be honest. It made sense as far as addressing the area. Talked about it last week about it's a high volume area for us. We're going to pick up a lot of bookings, a lot of suspensions. There's going to be injuries, etc. in that area. So we needed more volume in there, and he was exactly the type of midfielder we needed, really, as far as loads of legs, loads of energy, can sit in the screen, he can do the ugly stuff, and a bit like Taylor, he just comes in, he knows exactly what the coaching staff are about, knows exactly what is expected of him. Few different faces, but as far as what he's going to be asked to do and the way he's going to be asked to approach his work, it's going to be exactly the same as what he had last time. He's just going to probably have a little bit more quality and a little bit more structure around him, because second half of last season for us we were just pissing in the wind, really. We just coasted through it, and he got minutes, and it's good considering his age and where he comes from and what he needs. But I think he's going to have a bit more structure around him and a bit more quality, and he'll probably benefit for it. It'll probably be better for us in the long run, really.
Yeah, definitely agree. Even into Jason MH, by the way, the Orange Joker, Yambi Sims as well, and Riley Clark and Kieran West as well, and Joe Morgs Gaming. Do you know when Giovanni Wilson? I think they're back this weekend, I believe. I think I was listening to Having a Gasp just earlier on, and apparently, Ed Hadwin was interviewing Jerry. Apparently, Jerry said they're back this week, so fingers crossed. Yeah, we should see some interesting news, especially after, obviously we'll get into the game in a sec, but after the way we played, I should imagine with the players that we signed, hopefully we should see some changes, because I think that's what should happen, because we've got a bigger squad, etc. Obviously we'll go through all the lineups like we do at the end of the stream and give our obviously score predictions, but should be interesting given that. Obviously quickly on Jack Hunt, obviously it was funny how last stream just before we ended it, he signed. Now, given that he signed on a 2-year deal, obviously on a free, what do you make of that? I know we talked about it a little bit last week, but now it's properly a done deal, announced on a 2-year deal. What do you make of that?
Yeah, like I said last week, I think it's another one that we sort of needed, another senior pro. Like Joey loves senior pros in and around the place. What he's done in his career, where he's been, clubs he's played for. It suits what you need in and around the place day to day, as far as a changing room, a training ground. We've lost sort of. I know he's on our coaching staff, Whelan, but as far as younger players looking up to older players, Jack Hunt sort of fits the bill. And we'll go on to sort of Cambridge, but that was what we looked. That's something that stood out for me from early doors. Just like it's easy to go and play against these big clubs that we have done, go and play well, get amongst them and get a decent result. But when you're up against the pump and things ain't going your way, we had no leaders for me.
I completely agree, to be honest. It was just really poor. And yeah, like you said, didn't have any leaders. Didn't have any leaders at all, to be honest. And it was just really frustrating. Even to Ben Darrell as well, saying Wilson and Brown to start for me Saturday. Do you think Jack Hunt will be a bench player, or do you think he'll start games? For me, he's there to start. He's there to fight, and hopefully, give Luca Hall, some. I give Joey something to think about, and I hope he comes as trying to get into the starting lineup. For me personally, you've seen his quality, you've seen, what he's done in his career, and hopefully, I think he's there to start games. To be honest, do you think Wycombe Wanderers play football? I thought. It'd be interesting, obviously, that with Gareth Ainsworth over the years, they've sort of been a well-organised, get it up to the big men up front, get it out wide and get it in the box. But we've got a Wycombe fan coming on if you've just joined around half an hour in. So he'll be able to tell us what they've now done with Matt Bloomfield. Now, he's obviously coming last season, but we'll see. Even into Joey's cap, anyone notice that the clubs we've also believed to interest in JCH have bought other strikers such as Barnsley, Charlton and Derby over the past few days. Good omen. Hopefully it's a good omen. That's what we need. We need Clark Harris. But if it's anything to go with Saturday, people can say, about Marquis and stuff, but he had no service or anything really up to him on Saturday. It was just, and Jason saying we overplayed the diagonal long ball. Yeah, definitely. Obviously, getting into the Cambridge game, what did you make of the lineup? Because there was only one change. Our top goal scorer came out, Sinclair, and Finley come back in after being rested. What did you make of the lineup? And just the way we played the first half. And obviously, if anyone wants to get questions, then get them in and we'll go over it. But Neil, what did you make of the lineup in the first half against Cambridge?
It was what I thought it was going to be in the week. To be honest, I think that's what I thought it was going to be, and that's what got named. And I don't think Cambridge did anything different to what I thought it was going to be. The way they set up, the way we played, the way they played, the way they approached the game. We just looked really. We were awful. We just looked uninterested. Like, as far as any sort of level of urgency or enthusiasm, we looked completely devoid of it. It was like, I know we've got a lot of young lads out there, and like I said, our other games we've been playing big clubs, big hitters on in other grounds, etc. When you've got to go to these places, little hostile atmosphere, tiny dimensions of the pitch are a lot smaller. Cambridge set himself up to suit himself, which they should do. They've got to take every advantage they can, but they didn't play any different to what that side would have been set up to play against. Like, you can't tell me from the course of us having like Joey Mangs and that coach staff, they are prepared for what they come up against. Then they've got to put that instruction over to their players. And then once you go past the white line, that is on you. And that's what I'm talking about, leaders. We were sloppy as like Kremer for the first 10 minutes was so sloppy. And then that just drips feed through your side. It's an uphill. It's like you're wading through treacle, just trying to get yourself going. Because when you start slow, it's hard to pick it up again. You're like, if you start fast and want to then change your tempo throughout, it's a lot easier. But when you start slow and then try and pick the pace up, it's so difficult.
Yeah,
he was sloppy. He was loose with the ball. It just set the tone, I think. And like I said, after about 20 minutes, this scream. I know that it was different when we went up there when we was in League Two, but it screamed Oldham away for me. Just uninterested, unenthusiastic, coasted through it. And it looked like after 30 minutes, it was like, we're devoid of ideas now. But I get what the fella's saying at diagonals. Like, we're hitting diags, and that's fine. You can hit them, and it's how you execute them. Like, some of them went astray, and you play the percentages. Sometimes they do, but at the end of the day, you get set when the ball's in the final in their third, and you turn yourself around and get set again for what comes back. But when they're dropping to like Luke Thomas's feet, and that, when I talk about urgency and enthusiasm, there's no overloads. There's nothing. Once you hit that dive, you've got to get an overload to try and create something else. And it's like you're expecting Luke Thomas, who started great, and like I didn't think I'd trust him as early as what I do, but I wholeheartedly trust Luke Thomas now to start and affect games and do well for us. But you can't expect him to just the ball's drop at his feet 30 yards out on a tight pitch and just go and dance around 4 lads. Mm-hmm. Like we were just, and then off the back of that, you've got like Finley, who's going to be deemed our senior pro in there now. You've got to start directing traffic and making things happen. And like I talk about the Kramer thing, no one's getting into him. Do you know what I mean? Just sloppy as hell for the first 10 minutes. Your first 3-4 touches are really loose. Like I know I keep going back to him, but you talk about setting standards and driving standards. I know Coops fell away as a player, but when he was out there, people listened and people got stuff done because he was there and they looked to him. And like if Coops says something, it happens. Yeah, it didn't happen on Saturday. Like no one got stuck into anyone. No one like sought after making anyone accountable for anything. You look at the goal that went in second half. The goal occurred of exactly what we spoke about last week, where they'll try and press. The trigger for the press will be halfway line, back to goal, in a corner area where the fullback will be high. It happened to be Ward off the back of a throw-in, got muscled out of it, and then they just basically went through the middle of us, cut inside goal. But the goal goes in. There's no accountability. No one's getting dug out. No one's saying anything. You know what I mean? It just you talk about driving standards, and if I'm like Burton, Stevenage, Northampton, Carlisle, I'm looking at that thinking Rovers are a soft touch. Get amongst them, make it difficult for them, make them lose heart that they're not getting any joy in what they're doing, and then we'll break them. It just looked bad for me as far as an attitude, as far as like a mentality, and as far as like any sort of form of leadership out there. Looked bad for me, that did Saturday. Like you can get beat, but there's ways of getting beat. Yeah. Right? And I said in the week, we're player for player better than them. If we get beat, it's very much like a cup tie. If we got beat by them Saturday, it's all on us. We beat ourselves, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just get into some comments, and then I'll talk a bit about it as well, because you said to me when you see my match reaction, it was like, but if I'd have done it, I would have done it straight after the game, but I was so fuming. I just wanted to leave it until the next morning. Big up to Ben Dowell as well. Thanks for tuning in. What do you think of Luca Hall? Just me who thinks he started poorly. Good job we've got Hunt. Yeah, I do think he started poorly. Personally as well. Even into James, what's going on with Collins? Bloke don't look interested. Finley ain't good enough. Shocking we've given him the captaincy. Yeah, what really annoyed me with Collins, I don't know if anyone who was watching on iFollow or whatever, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but as soon as the whistle went, he went straight into the changing rooms. Didn't even clap the fans, unlike all the other players. He just went straight down the changing room. He is probably lacking confidence, but it's just like you said there, he just don't look interested, don't look the same player. And yeah, I don't know what's going on. People could say he don't look interested. People could say lazy, confidence. I don't know, but something needs to change with Collins. Even into Wayne as well. Even into Will as well. Going subs to Will BRC Vlogs. We're missing someone in the midfield to knit the defense and attack together. So had to pursue the long ball, which didn't work. Hopefully Bogarde will be who we need. Yeah, definitely. Even into Gordo as well. Also saying about JCH, won't come, too much fee, wages too high, he will clash with Barton. Even to Elliot Davis. Bogarde, as James also saying, Bogarde made Finley, Ward and Evans look amateur. He has to start every week when he's fit. Marcus ain't good enough for first choice either. Ben saying I'd have Bogarde in over Finley all day. That's what I mean. Do you know who I was thinking to myself after the game? If I was to give anyone man of the match, it would be Bogarde. That that tells you everything you need to know. I think that was only our second shot on target the whole game. I think we had was through him, and he actually looked like he wanted to get on the ball, even though he had 5-10 minutes. I think Barton definitely should have made. I don't know why he didn't make any changes at halftime. You could see from the first 10 minutes it wasn't working. Like you said, everyone was just far too spread out. You know, Thomas was out all on the right-hand side on his own. Evans was meant to be calm, even though Evans was basically playing deeper. Marquis was up there on his own against two big experienced centre-backs in Bennett and Morrison. Collins was out wide on his own, and, you know, and then the midfield were wait. I know we want to play this style where you pass out from the back. I get that. But the midfield were just way too deep. So when anyone did get the ball, and like you said earlier on, when Thomas got the ball, because everyone was so deep and both of our fullbacks don't overlap, we had nothing. And we was basically relying on some bit of magic when it was never going to happen. We knew as fans, if you knew as fans what Cambridge were going to do, and obviously Tom from the Abbey podcast, who come on as well, said the same thing. And we knew that anyway. We knew, you know, they're a solid team. They didn't give us hardly anything. And like you said, when you have all that possession in the defence, you know, and no movement whatsoever, then yeah, you could just tell from early doors it was just going to be one of those games where we won. And like you said, it was so disappointing. It's so Rovers. You can say that, but it's the same thing now. It's happened. You know, the staff have to come up with something new, because it happened a lot last season when we come up against teams that sit with a low block, and it's unfair play. That's how they play, and that's how you beat Rovers, is by sitting. It happened with Bourne Wood in the FA Cup. They done the same thing. We didn't look like scoring the whole game. Yes, we had one massive chance, the Collins chance. Maybe you could say Marquis as well, but it was sort of a weird angle. But we just didn't look like scoring at all, and it was nothing. And then it continued, didn't it, in the second half? What did you make of the second half? Pretty much the same thing, wasn't it, basically?
Yeah, we sort of huffed and puffed to try and play the way we wanted to play. And like I said, I didn't have an issue. I didn't have an issue with what we were trying to do and what we were trying to go about. Just the way we executed it was all telegraphed, and it was all laboured, and it was so easy to defend against because there was no urgency involved in what we were doing. I don't think the instruction was the problem. It's just how it was being executed. It was just so, like, you get a really loose, laboured ball out of, you know, from your centre half. You get on the half turn, you take sort of 3 touches, throw it back towards your centre half. He takes another touch, and then you're going to boom some at 60 yards on a diag, which is fine, but do it with a bit of urgency so you can get who you're playing against turning. Because it was all set. Everything was set. Like, they could see it coming, chat, get their shape back before the ball was played. It was just like I said, I don't think what we tried to do was, there's only so much you can do on those dimensions. You know what I mean? Unless you're so superior like Real Madrid and you can play through that like at elite speed and no one can get close to you, you have to find a way of going over them, or if you can't go through them or round them. Like, they play their dimensions really well, Cambridge, and they'll pick up good points at home because they'll say, we're going to be ballsy enough to sit here. We're going to be as deep as this. You've got to come and break us down. And when you get greedy, we'll come and make a chance for ourselves. That's basically what they did. But the reason, it wasn't like we got greedy. We were just so lax and laboured and, you know, uninterested in trying to fight to get that ball back. And again, that could have all been resolved with a bit of leadership and someone to grab that game by the scruff of the neck and say, you know what, let's have a bit of balls here. Let's get back to basics. Do the things we've been told to do and do it with a bit of purpose. Because it just didn't happen. Like I said, going back to Coots, he's old news and he's been and gone. I get that. But he drove standards, and standards dropped massively Saturday. And I just hope that when I'm looking now at that squad, I'm thinking Wilson's going to have to be that guy who drives that.
Yeah, I agree. There was literally nothing. You know, when you look at Finley captain, like, there was nothing from him. even in the interview, I know it's only one defeat, and I as I set like high standards. Maybe I set them too high, but even the interview after, just making excuses about the wind. Like there was nothing to do with the wind. It was like you said, there was no urgency at all. It was just so slow. And when, like you said, when you start off as poor as we did, it was just. But even second half, there was no change. I wanted to see early subs, didn't happen. It was just really, really poor. To go all that way and for us to play like that, and like you said, it was just way too slow, way too, like you said, they knew what we were going to do, but because we played it with no urgency, it was they could just sit there. And like you said, if we made a mistake, like we did for both goals, the first goal, like you said, Ward, which is probably his worst game I've seen from him, he lost it right on sort of the edge, right of our box, and then Sully Kai just come on, and I bet he was thinking, how easy is this? Went past through all our midfield, all the defense, and just it was a great finish as well. Fair play to him. He 2 goal scores for them off the bench, and he just put it bottom corner. And then to sum it up perfectly was their second goal from I don't know who took the throw in, but someone just rifled it into Bogarde.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, what is this? And then it obviously resulted from the goal because everyone was upfield. But it was just really bad. But hopefully, like you said, hopefully it's just that one game. We've got 2 home games now. Wycombe and then Lincoln, who both haven't had the best start to this season. That we've really got to take advantage of.
But that game there, that sort of game there, just shows, it highlights again how we're in dire need of a marquee centre forward, a proper marquee centre forward. Like there's going to be games throughout a season, and cup games, etc., where you are going to have games where chances are so limited. Like we had one chance at 0-0, one golden chance at 0-0. We didn't take it. And then, but when you've got a marquee centre forward who's big, strong, can create chances for itself, I'm talking A1 League One centre forward, like not just going out and getting any centre forward because they're available to get. It's got to be the right one. He's got to be far superior to what we've got. Like I know everyone's, A1 centre forward is Clark Harris. He's probably right because he's probably the best in the division that's available. But you look at what he did, like Plymouth away, Gillingham away, goals out of nothing. Get him strong, half turn, whack. Like he creates a chance out of nothing for himself. And if we'd have had that, we'd have had a far better chance on Saturday. And we're going to come up against sides, like I said, I named them, like Burton, Stevenage, Northampton, Carlisle. They're going to be difficult. They're going to be awkward, and they're going to sit in, and they're going to make life tough for us. And you need someone to pull something out of nowhere.
Yeah, I agree, to be honest. Jason saying didn't look like they were fighting for their places. Do you think Rossiter will be back this year? Probably be back in January, I think the talk is. Even later than that, which is not good news, and he's out of contract in the summer as well. Ben saying, got to start taking our chances, especially against these defence-minded teams. We all know Wycombe will sit back and be happy for a point. Well, George is actually waiting in the chat. We'll bring him in a sec. So it'd be interesting to see what's changed with, obviously, Gareth Ainsworth being there for God knows how many years. And then Bloomfield, who, of course, played under Ainsworth, whether it's going to be the same, because obviously we did play them last season with Bloomfield and with Ainsworth. Obviously, with Ainsworth, we lost 2-1. With Bloomfield, we lost 2-0, I think, the home game. Even into Vaughan as well. But yeah, we're going to bring in George now. Like I said, make sure you go and follow the Wycombe Way and check out the Wycombe, the Wowcast Podcast as well, both on socials, and links are in the description. But yeah, evening George, and thanks for coming on the channel. Evening. Is he there? I don't know. Right, I'm not sure what's going on with his connection. I mean, yeah, I don't have a clue. We'll try again in a minute. Hopefully his connection will be better. Gordo saying, do you think Joey Barton is managing Sinclair's game time due to his age? I don't know, because you look at his age, but you look at him, he's built like an absolute, he's built like someone in their early 20s,
Yeah, he's you can't question the guy's like fitness. Look at his career, where he's been. He knows how to manage his body. I just think he probably is managing his minutes in the sense that of his age and what the season brings and how long it's a grueler. But also, I look at Sinclair and I just think he's someone you know will deliver off the bench. You know what I mean? There's some players come on and they come on, they're meant to making impacts, but they don't. They sort of just game sort of just whimpers out and they don't really get into their stride. But I think someone like Sinclair, you bring him on and is whatever he tries to do first is normally pretty good and positive, and he can normally create something. Like you can give someone like Sinclair 15 minutes and he'll probably get a shot off, create a couple of chances. I just think he's you can hang your hat on Sinclair. You know what you're going to get from him, and I think if you bring him on, he will impact a game. Whereas sometimes you bring on people like Evans and it sort of passes him by a little bit because you can't get into it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Apologies for that. I don't know what's going on. For once it's not my connection. It's George's connection. I'll see if he joins back. Everyone's saying Houston, we have a problem. Everyone's saying he's time wasted, just like his team. But yeah, that's the thing is we've seen it. We've seen it. I know they've had a pre-season. They've made plenty of signings trying to get younger players in. They've brought in Luke Leahy on a free after he rejected a new contract. He's been playing up front. I think the Leyton Orient game, I'm pretty sure Leahy played up front. So since he's left Rovers, he's gone midfield, centre attacking midfield, striker. Obviously, they brought in the centre back from Bristol City on a free, Joe Lowe, who I think is their top goal scorer with 2 goals. He's like 6'5", 6'6" centre back. So we'll have to see. And they brought in Del Taylor on loan, a striker. But yeah, hopefully George is back, so hopefully his connection's better. Evening, are you there?
Evening, fellas.
Yeah,
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, all good. George, thanks for coming on. Obviously, Wycombe this season so far have played 2, and in both losses you lost 3-0 to Wycombe and to Lincoln and Exeter, and then you beat Leyton Orient 3-2 at home, and then you've drew with 0-0 against Burton, which was your last game. What have you made so far this season from Wycombe, with Bloomfield taking charge of his first full season?
Overall, I think it's been slightly underwhelming. The business throughout the summer was really quite positive. I think we were all expecting to sort of hit the ground running, really. From our point of view, we can look at it one of 2 ways. Either it's a poor start this season with a clean slate, or it's a continuation of last season where we won 3 of the last, I think it was 12 games or something. So depending on your perspective of it, it's a poor start either way, really. Performances haven't been good enough. The results show that. But it's not been the Wycombe that you've been used to over the years. And I think Bloomfield needs to sort of find that mix of playing the nice football that he's trying to, but also try and grind out the results the way that Gareth Ainsworth could.
Yeah, definitely. Because like you said, of course, we were one of the teams to lose, only winning 3 games when he come in. We were one of 3 teams to lose. And even that game, I remember I think we started quite well, had a few good chances, but then after that, it was sort of the same thing that happened second half. Well, it happened the whole game against Cambridge for us, is that, most of the game you were, with a low block. You had Jacobson in defence, of course, one of our ex-players, a very well-organised side. But like me and Neil were chatting before, like against Wycombe, usually we do poor because you you can defend. I mean, fair enough. You sit back, you organize, but every team can do how they play, how they like, what suits them, how they grind results. And we struggled. I remember second half, it was sort of like, for a Saturday, didn't have a game plan against you in that 2-0 defeat at home. And yeah, you nicked 2 goals, one from a mistake. Of course, Brandon Hanlon had to score the goal. He was getting so much crap as well from the fans. And of course, we make a mistake and you go 1-0 up. And then I think it was Chem Campbell who scored the second goal for you as well. And yeah, and that game, second half, we were just long balling it and that's what, a lot of Rovers fans have said about, Saturday and previous games, last year. We don't really have a backup plan if things are going wrong. So hopefully, obviously, when it comes to Saturday, for us especially, obviously, we hopefully we can get an early goal. But quickly going on your signings over the summer, you've been quite busy. A few players have left, but you've brought quite a few in either on loan or a permanent signing. What players have you signed this summer in Bloomfield's first full season?
I mean, it's easy to look at the loan signings first of all. We've made 5 loan signings, which is the most you can have in a match day squad, and they're all sort of really good young lads who are eager to come in and learn. Freddie Potts is one of those from West Ham. He was in their squad last year for the Conference League final. He's come in, he's really hit the ground running. And I heard you mention Dale Taylor. He bagged his first goal last Tuesday and he looks a real threat up front. He played against us at Burton last season and he really ran the show up front. He gave our defenders one hell of a game and he's a really exciting signing and hopefully as the weeks go on he can really push on. But I think that the 2 most exciting signings long term for us are the 2 wing backs. When Ainsworth was here, he was very sort of conventional with a 4 at the back system. Bloomfield has come in, he's tried to implement a 5-back with the wing backs. Kane Vincent-Young has done it at this level for many years with Ipswich. And Harry Boyes has come in on loan from Sheffield United after two good loan spells at the level last season. So there's a lot of signings, but a lot of really good signings with really good pedigree. And I think that the challenge is now just waiting for them to really bed into the squad and start working as a unit, and then hopefully the results will start coming.
Yeah, definitely. Keep hitting the likes as well, everyone that's watching. Thanks to everyone tuning in. Like I said, make sure you go and check out the Wycombe Way over on Twitter. And drop a like as well if you're watching on the replay as well. Don't forget to leave your predictions, your thoughts on the game in the comments below. But yeah, it's interesting. Like you said, I think Dale Taylor, I'm pretty sure he scored against us as well. When he was, I think the home game where we lost 2-1. I'm pretty sure he scored in that game. And he, like you said, he's quite a fast striker, and he as well. So, but it is interesting now. Like you said, we're going to get on to obviously the way you play. Is it more of like, you brought it up a little bit with the obviously playing wing backs now? Kane Vincent-Young, who, like you said, was done very well at Ipswich, and Harry Boyes as well. Is it more of like an attacking thing now then with Bloomfield? As he, like you said, he's sort of gone away from Ainsworth, where he just used to keep it solid and he didn't mind, grinding results out. Whereas now Bloomfield, and I can imagine he probably tried playing it first game and the second game where you got battered by Exeter and Lincoln losing 3-0. But obviously the last 2 games you are unbeaten with a 3-2 win against Orient and a 0-0 draw against Burton. Is it more of an attacking sort of style now that Bloomfield wants to put on the football club?
I think that the fundamentals are still the same, really, from when Ainsworth is. There's still a lot of direct long balls up to Sam Vokes, but I suppose there's more for sort of the ticky-tacky around the back with the short passes from the goalkeeper, trying to play it out wide, and then they go long, rather than the ball to the first centre-back and then just sort of hoof it and hope. There's a little bit more direction in that sense, but it's a tricky one because Bloomfield is trying to play good football. he's trying to pass out from the back, but it's still largely an Ainsworth squad that was built to sort of just play long ball to Akinfenwa and then Vokes and sort of play off the scraps. So it is going to take a couple of years to sort of, I guess, sort it out as a whole. But, it's the early signs are there that we are going to become a possession-based team. That's not a bad thing. But I think it's going to take a little while to sort of get that tick in, really. So I wouldn't expect free-flowing football. I'd still expect the same sort of Wycombe that you'd come to expect. Long balls up to Vokes. But yeah, it's not so much in the way that Ainsworth would sort of sit back and invite pressure with the low block, but really soak it up well. I think Bloomfield's a little bit more, if you score one, go and get the second. It's a little bit more expansive in that sense. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, it's going to be an interesting one because, like you said, we've pretty much a lot of the time over the years, especially last sort of 4, 5, 6 years, we've really struggled against Wycombe. There's a few wins we've got in there, but even the game at your place, I think was it Boxing Day, I believe, or I think it was Boxing Day. Yeah, when we went 1-0 up really early. We're playing really well. Went 1-0 up through Josh Coburn, who of course isn't at us anymore. He was only on loan last season. But then after that, like you said, we really, and that was with Ainsworth. You were, like you said, Vokes. He was an absolute nightmare for I think it was Gibson, Bobby Thomas. We couldn't handle him, and that's how you got both of the goals. And that was when I think might have been that Anis Mehmeti's last game for you as well. Of course, he's now at the other team in Bristol that obviously we don't like. But yeah, Vokes is a real problem especially at this level. And yeah, he's definitely one to watch out for. Neil, have you got any questions about Wycombe for George, or any things you want to know?
No, I don't think so. I think you covered it really with Wycombe, what Bloomfield was as a player. He's probably trying to stamp that into the game that he wants to play himself. But the fundamentals of what Ainsworth left his squad. I mean, if you've got someone like Sam Vokes, you'd be mad not to use him that way. I mean, he's a back to goal centre forward. How else are you going to use him? So it's what you do in the middle of the pitch is fine, but ultimately it's what you do in both boxes. And if you look, you've got someone like Sam Vokes who's going to cause you mayhem in an opposition box. Then you look at players like Keogh, Farino, Tafazoli, tailor-made for doing what they need to do in both boxes. We talked about Rovers on Saturday lacking any form of leadership. You look at like I said, Keogh, Vokes, Tafazoli, absolute leaders. Like, I know Taff doesn't wear the armband, but he leads that side. He runs that side technically. Chats all game, directs traffic, pulls people in, gets them organised. Never shirks anything. He's always there. He's always accountable. He's probably, when he struggles with being fit all season, but when he is fit, he's probably one of the better, if not up there with the best centre half in the division. I think he's playing sort of left of a 3 this season because that's what they're obviously gone with the 3. But we've been good. I think if you look at Rovers, we've been good sort of defensively as far as an aerial threat. We've dealt with it pretty well, as you would do with Connor Taylor coming back in, and now Wilson will do the same and pick up anything that is lost off of Connor Taylor. But Tafazoli, Keogh, Farino, Vokes are going to be hard work in that box. Like, if they want to go in, they want to start in diags and put set pieces in there. If they want to go that Ainsworth way and start loading that area, it will be chaos. It will be difficult to defend, and that's where you need leaders. You've got to stand up and take it. So I think it'd be interesting Saturday to see how that sort of plays out against a side who have pretty much melted against a lesser side on Saturday, against a side who are going to really fancy it, be full of leaders, be well organised, and got a bit of a point to prove because they've been sort of inconsistent at best.
Yeah, definitely is. Yeah, like you said, there's loads of still. I think this is a good blend of sort of like we have. A lot of teams have it as well. There's a lot of experienced players, like you said, Tavazoli, Vokes, Jacobson, Josh Scowen. But then, like George talked about, a lot of the loan signings come in. I think there's one from Man City. You got Freddie Potts from West Ham. You've got Dale Taylor up front. You've got Harry Boyce. So it's quite a team full of experience and young players, sort of like Rovers have. But yeah, that's what, it's just going to be a big test for us, especially back at home where we'll probably be favourites to win, being back at home. We've even though we've only got one win this season in the league, we've seen good performances against Barnsley. Draw with them in our last home game and only home game we've played so far. So it is going to be a test for us to see how we come up against a really physical side in which teams, like we talked about, Wycombe, Lincoln, Cambridge, we struggle against teams that, like we've seen so far. We've played, Barnsley, Portsmouth, Charlton, teams that like to attack, and we've got good results out of them and haven't lost. But as soon as it comes to a team that is a lot more defensive-minded team, like Cambridge, then we decide to struggle against them. But yeah, we're going to get into our team lineups now. Make sure you let us know in the comments what lineups and team you would go for as well. Of course, keep hitting the like button as well. Starting off with you, Neil. I haven't really. I thought about it a little bit. I haven't come to a full team that I want to play yet. But what lineup would you go for Saturday? And obviously we'll get George's in a minute. What he would go for, what team he would play for Wycombe. But what are you going for, Neil, for Saturday?
Yeah, I keep a system. I keep trying to do what we're doing. I wouldn't need you to change how we play. I don't think the management team, coaching staff would do anyway, to be honest. But I go, 4-2-1, and then 2 out wide, and then 1 through the middle. I'll go Cox in goal, Gordon Hall at fullback. I play Taylor and Wilson at centre half. I play Finley and Bogarde in the screen. Evans in front of that. Thomas one side, Sinclair the other, with Collins right through the middle.
So you'd have Collins as the lone striker.
Yeah, I'd play Collins where he's played best, to be honest, at the minute. I'll just go and, he's struggling for what he's trying to do at the minute. It's too easy to assume things about, attitude and where he's at. Ultimately, if his attitude was bad, Joey wouldn't play him, so it can't be that, can it? He wouldn't be out there if that was the case. But I just think go and play him, run through the middle where he's caused havoc before he scored all his goals. And ultimately, we're up until sort of Saturday, we've been creating hatfuls of chances, and the bloke who's playing up there haven't been taking him. So let's go and get the bloke who's won Player of the Year for the division, who scores loads of goals last season, to get back to doing it.
Yeah. So how many changes is that?
Well, as far as personnel, Sinclair will come in to start. You'll have Wilson will come in for Kramer, and Ward will go out for Bogarde. So maybe 3
changes.
3, 4, yeah. Maybe. Marcus goes out for Collins as well.
Yeah. For me, it's tough. It's tough at the moment. Matt has gone with Cox, Hall, Taylor, Kramer, Gordon, Evans, Ward, Finley, Thomas, Marquis, Collins. For me, it's tough. Really, really tough. I mean, obviously, Cox in goal. For starters, for me, I'd go Hunt right back. Although I don't know how fit he is or whatever, but for me, I'd go Hunt. Left back, I would go with Gordon. Centre backs, I would go with Connor Taylor and James Wilson. Midfield, if it was me, I'd drop Finley, but because Barton, I don't think he will do that. But for me, I would play Bogarde and Ward. And then I would go with Thomas on the right, Sinclair on the left. Now, this is where it gets interesting because do you play, do I do what you've done? We've gone through Evans, Cam, and then Collins up top? Or would I sort of, would I play Collins in behind and Marcus up top? It's tough. Really is tough. I mean, let's go with Yusuf as well. Yusuf has gone Cox, Grant, Wilson, Taylor, Kramer, Bogarde, Ward, Vale, Collins, Thomas, Loft. Will BRC Vlogs has gone Cox, Gordon, Cramer, Taylor, Hall, Bogarde, Ward, Sinclair, Collins, Thomas, Marquis. Oh, it's tough, you know. It really is tough. I'll just go with Collins, and Marquis, but make sure Collins is central. I just think we need Marquis just because of aerial threat. If Wycombe are playing free at the back, I don't want just Collins. I don't want Collins up top because he's no good at holding the ball, winning headers. I'd do that. Cox in goal, Jack Hunt right back, Cramer. Wilson, Taylor, Gordon, Bogarde, Grant Ward, Collins in behind Marquis, Thomas right, Sinclair left. That's what I would go for, but it could be absolutely anything. I don't have a clue, but yeah. So we've both gone with quite a lot of changes. Ben Darrell saying I'd play Giovanni over Evans, Wilson over Taylor, stay the same the other positions. Would play Loft over Marquis, says Yusuf, because of Tafazoli and Lowe's aerial threat. But that's what I mean. You've got two of their three centre-backs are 6'5".
I mean, with all due respect, they ain't gonna win. You ain't gonna win it against them anyway. You're gonna have to be. You're gonna have to be a monster to win it against them, regardless. So if we play that way, it's gonna be dumb as shit, isn't it? If you're gonna play that way and think you're gonna win an aerial threat in the final third, regardless against them, what are we doing? It's gonna come straight back.
I just hope it. You know, they've got an actual game plan this weekend, like we didn't have last week, because that's what we were doing last week. If we do that against Wycombe, we'll lose. And if we
like I said, it won't happen, will it? Because the dimensions of the pitch are completely different. It's a completely different setup. If you're going to go right, they're playing three massive 6'5" brick shithouse centre halves that are made to edit and kick it as far as they can. Why would we boom it 60 yards? You wouldn't do it, would you? We won't be set up to do that. We've never been set up to do that this season, bar trying to play a diag against Cambridge, who are rough, tough on a small pitch, with like small diameters. Like what we tried to do was fine. We just didn't execute it well enough on Saturday, but we won't be doing that Saturday. No chance. Be suicide.
Yeah. Hopefully not. Hopefully, yeah. I mean, like you said, you shouldn't think so. If you look at their, like you said, you look at their free, you can't see that. Yeah, Will saying no need to change too much yet. Bogarde and Sinclair should at least come in and expecting half-time subs if it isn't working. Matt saying if Brown's fit, I'd bring him in for one of the midfielders. Yeah, Ben saying, echoing the same thing, can't play. No, of course not. But we struggled against them. I hope we've learned something from last year, because we've done the same thing of what we shouldn't do against Wycombe last season at home, where we, in the 2-0 game, started well, then we sort of didn't create much, then they went 2-0 up, then we just diagged it the whole game. So hopefully we can get back to playing, how we sort of ended or started the second half against Barnsley like that. So fingers crossed. Jason M8 saying, you ever see Loft starting? I know a few people have put Loft, but I can, it's tough because, like Neil's done. Obviously, Neil's gone the completely opposite way and just gone with like a false 9, basically, or in Collins up front. But George, what would be your Wycombe lineup to start on Saturday against us? What would you do if you were picking your team?
I've seen a lot of Wycombe fans saying they want to change of system. But I can't see Bloomfield doing that at this stage. Not after the transfer window we've had, where he's brought in players to play a sort of a 3-back or a 5-back system. So I think he'll stick with that, which obviously means Max Striek in goal. Statistically, one of the best goalkeepers in League One last season. I'm hoping he plays Boys and Vincent Young on the left and the right. He's had a little bit of change in recent weeks, trying to find the best solution. The captain, Jack Grimmer, was injured last weekend, So he's out of action. So that should leave us with just Boyd on the left and Vincent Young on the right. And then that should pave the way for three proper centre-backs for the first time in what will feel like a long, long time. So Ryan Tapazzoli, Joe Lowe and Chris Farino, if they're all fit, all at least. I think Farino's 6'3", and then the other two, as you mentioned, are 6'5". So that's a real powerful, strong defence. And I think he's going to go a little bit more attacking in the midfield area. So Luke Leahy and Josh Scowen as the base. Obviously, Luke Leahy, another good signing from Shrewsbury. He was their top goal scorer and player of the year last year. Killian Phillips just ahead of them two on loan from Crystal Palace. He really impressed at Shrewsbury on loan last season. And then that leaves up front Sam Vokes and Dale Taylor.
Yeah, that's interesting. I just hope the same. I just hope, because your team is not full of ex-Rovers players, but there's a few in there, and obviously, if any, Gases would have seen, last season at Shrewsbury, Leahy, because he was at Rovers during the COVID season for us, and he was our top goal scorer playing as a wing back. He was on penalties, but a lot of Rovers fans, obviously everyone's entitled to their opinion, thought he was, crap. He was good at attacking, poor defending. But yeah, we give him loads of crap last season when he was at Shrewsbury, scored in their home win against us, shushed the Rovers fans. So I just hope it don't happen, that, because like I said last season, Brandon Hanlon done the same thing, scored against us, but who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But go with Gas said 95 saying it's Brown fit. Well, according to when I was listening to Having a Gas earlier, the presenter had done an interview with Joey, and Joey said they should all be fit, including Giovanni Brown. So who knows? Yambi Sims has actually put his lineup in as well quickly. 3-5-2. So going away from what we've done this season with Cox, Wilson, Kramer, and Taylor as the three centre backs. Bogarde, Finley, Evans, Sinks, Sinclair, Thomas, Giovanni Brown, and Collins. So that's an interesting one. Who knows? He could change it. I wouldn't be surprised if he changed it, to be honest. But yeah, we're gonna get our score predictions in now. Don't forget to let us know in the comments your score predictions, and of course, if you're watching it back on the live, drop your predictions and lineups in the comments as well. Neil, what are you going for? Are you confident we can bounce back after Saturday and get back to winning ways?
I think we can. I think we're plenty capable of doing it. It is achievable. There's nothing to say we can't win that game. I'm just not 100% confident we will. Gut feeling sort of 1-1 sort of Saturday.
1-1. Oh. Goal scorers for both teams?
I'd like to see Collins get off the mark if he starts. Well, I'd like to see Marcus get off the mark if he starts. But again, my gut feeling is saying sort of Sinclair, because he's the one who's getting them at the minute. Probably someone like Potts in and around arriving late. I can see us going ahead, and then I just want to see some leadership and accountability for us, sort of thing, when we get in front and go in. Do what we did when we used to go in front and go, right, let's shut this out. Let's go nice and tight, nice and narrow, direct traffic. Everyone knows what they're about. I'm not too sure we got that at the minute. So I can see us conceding after we go ahead, to be honest.
Yeah, so 1-1. Yeah, I don't know. What's your prediction, George? Are you confident you can make it 3 unbeaten and get your second win of the season, or are you not that confident? What do you think? No, all right. I think it's connection. If you can, George, just leave your prediction in the comments, because I think your connection's messed up a little bit. Let's go with a few people comments in the predictions. Kieran West has gone for a 3-1 loss. Flipping hell. Wow. Yusuf has gone 1-0 Rovers. Clean sheet. I'd take that, definitely. Plus a win. Mats has gone 2-0 Rovers. Another clean sheet. Ben Dowell loves a prediction. Shock result 4-0 Rovers. Bloody hell. Confident. 4 goals and a clean sheet. Yeah, no point crossing or diagonals, just pace at them. Yeah, I agree, Jan. Jason says a nervous 1-0 win. Yeah, time wasting again. Yeah, I'm not sure what going on with George's connection, but unfortunately, if he is watching back, then just leave your prediction in the comments. Yeah, nervous 1-0 win. I'm gonna go for. I said 2-1 last week against Cambridge. We really need to win. I think we can bounce back. Few changes, freshen the team up, get on the front foot. Hopefully, we start a lot better than we did the last home game. This is the thing. We need a quick start. I think if we can get a goal in early, I think we can put a few past them. I agree with Yambi Sims actually, and complete opposite to Kieran. I'm gonna go for a 3-1 Rovers win. 3-1 win. Sinclair, Collins, and Luke Thomas with the goal, and I think Hanlon will get a goal off the bench for Wycombe. So yeah, 3-1 Rovers. Yambi Sims, 3-1 Gas, Giovanni Brown hat-trick. Mats has gone Giovanni Brown and Sam Woods own goal. Whoever Sam Woods is for Wycombe, I don't actually have a clue. Gas at 95 is gone. Rovers 2, Wycombe 1. Will BRC Vlogs 2-0 Rovers expecting a reaction. We have a good team and good teams lose, but they don't let it happen again. Agreed. Yeah, Ben Dowell saying, Leahy will play like Perlo against us. Yeah, he does. It does. He was quality last game, but yeah, I'm going for a 3-1 Rovers win. George is back now. Let's see if hopefully his connection we can hear him now. Are you there?
I do apologise. I'm in the Lincolnshire wilderness.
No.
So it's a little bit of a struggle. Like I said, this afternoon I was leaning towards a Rovers win, and I was thinking it was going to be sort of quite comfortable for you, even 2 or 3-0. But sort of after having this conversation with you guys, I'm a little bit more confident now in our defensive sort of capabilities, and sort of also talking about our big centre halves. I've just got a gut feeling that we're going to scrape a 1-0, just in a terrible game, courtesy of a bullet header from a set piece or something. I think it's going to be one of those games with sort of both two very cagey sides who were sort of desperate to get going, and they're just sort of going to cancel each other out. And I don't believe in our attacking qualities just yet. But with the 3 big centre halves at the back, I just have a feeling one of them's going to pop up with a header or sort of get on the end of a cross or a free kick.
Yeah, to be fair, it's probably going to be the ex-City player, isn't it? Joe Lowe, who you signed, who got a bracing your win this season. 2 goals. He's massive centre back, and yeah, you've gone for a 1-0. Matt Lee, he did go to Wycombe. Yeah, I know you're late to the party, but yeah, Lee he went to Wycombe on a free after rejecting a new contract at Shrewsbury. And yeah, we have Ben Neil said 1-1. Neil's gone for a 1-1 draw. I've gone for a 3-1 win, and George has gone for a 1-0 Wycombe win. Hopefully, we can get the win. Of course. Will saying confident because my dad is coming. He's got a good record of watching Rovers, so that's good. Hopefully. Matt saying Thatcher's end ticket prices ? I'm not actually sure. I've got a season ticket, so I don't have a clue what the actual prices of a normal ticket is. Collins and Marquis goals to happen at some point. Neil, question for you from Yambi Sims. Would you go for Sam Nombe, if not JCH?
No, if I'm honest. I think what's Nombe got? He's had one good season, hasn't he? I don't think he's scored hatfuls in prior to that. And they're going to be asking for like £1 million, aren't they? They're going to be asking for like £1 million. I just don't think that marries up with what we want. Again, I just think I know it's really cliche and it's the obvious one to go for, and I don't know if it's even achievable because I know that Jono's going to be the best £1 million easy, and I don't know what's in the coffers for Rovers. I don't know what we're looking at as far as a fee, but like I said, you need a marquee A1 centre forward. If you're gonna spend any money, if you're gonna get a centre forward in, it needs to be top notch. There's no point just getting one for the sake of getting one. Like I know when we went up from League Two, went and got Loft, paid 50 grand for Loft, and it got us over the line. He did what he was asked to do, but completely different set of parameters now, completely different situation. What we need is a vast improvement on what we've got, and someone that you can say he is going to go and get you 20 goals, and he's going to make his own chances. He's going to be a right handful, and he's going to be a threat every minute of every game. And I don't think Nombe's that guy, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think you're right, though. I'm pretty sure his only really good season was last year. So, yeah. What else?
If we're going to spend money, it might be a loan market deal or whatever. But I'm just saying, whoever we bring in has to be. There's no point just bringing in a centre forward that's all right. We've got
of course, yeah.
And the squad's stacked as it is. If you're going to go and get someone, it needs to be a vast improvement. And if you're going to put money, if you're going to lay money down, it might as well be big money for someone that you're going to get a return out of.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, it should be interesting by this time. When does the transfer window close? Is it next Thursday, next Friday?
Yeah, end of the month.
Yeah. So yeah, it should be interesting to see what happens with that. Used to saying, when do you see Belshaw leaving? Or do you see him staying past the deadline? I don't know. Apparently, there's been no offers whatsoever, but who knows? Next Friday at 11 p.m. So, yeah, I might do a stream maybe next Friday. We'll see what happens. But yeah, we're pretty much going to end it now. Gone through pretty much everything. If you've only just joined or joined in the last half an hour and you want to see anything back, then I will leave timestamps again in the comments below. So as soon as you join back, you can go on the timestamps and look whatever what is we're talking about, whether it was the Cambridge review, the 2 new sign-ins, the preview, score predictions from all of us. So but yeah, pretty much going to end it now. Make sure you go and check out the Wycombe Way. Obviously, thanks to George for coming on as well, even though he is pretty much, like he said, in the Lincolnshire wilderness with not the best connection, but he has decided to come on. So thanks to George for coming on. As always, thanks to Neil. And yeah, thanks to everyone in the comments. Hopefully, I'll be doing a match reaction on Saturday where we get back to in ways, hopefully. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one. Up the gas.